Wells. The Summer Wells case is something that's near and dear to my heart, and I believe all of our hearts here on YouTube in the true crime community. She went missing on June 15th of 2021. We are now past 2 years, and no new information, no press conferences from TBI or Hawkins County Sheriffs. We're hearing nothing. It's crickets. I wanted to get your thoughts today. Is this a cold case? Is this a case that's still being investigated by authorities? I hope and pray that it is still being investigated, but it damn sure seems like a cold case to me. And I've been around this business for a long time. But I wanted to, just before I get into this video, I wanted to just say thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, the channel members, the folks who buy cups of coffee. I want to ask you too, and I know I'm asking a lot of questions here, but how many of you here, and I know we're all parents, or most of us are parents or grandparents or, you know, aunts, uncles, and I'm very sympathetic to children being separated from their families. But how many of you guys here feel that the three children should go back with Don and Candus Wells? How many of you feel that they be safe back with the way we see Don and Candus Wells acting on a public forum like YouTube, and the way they act on camera? God only knows how they act off camera, but how many of you here legitimately, now think about this, do you feel that Candus and Don should have their 3 kids back, and that the state would be okay by giving them back to them? Put a 1 in the chat if you think that they should be back. Put a 2 if you say, oh, hell no.
Oh, hell no.
There's my 2.
Missing.
I think they're scared of our house because of what happened, and is one of the issues, you know. So we would like to buy another house here in Arkansas. Couldn't understand what happened this summer. The police couldn't understand, and they were questioning us. At times they were hard on us, and other times they weren't. Just depending on, you know, what police agency was there at the time.
2 years later, he and Candus.
He's making a reference of the TBI and the FBI railed us. They were forceful. They used proper tactics. And when we got interviewed by the locals, it was just a joke, probably.
Have no clues as to where Summer is.
We try to bounce things off of each other all the time. We might have talks about, you know, some of the drug activity that was going on at the time and was going on right after her disappearance for quite a while. But yeah, there's nothing new.
Don says the family stays in touch with law enforcement through their private investigators.
About 2 months ago, they talked to our private investigators, you know, and the FBI did, and they shared what they could with us. I mean, but they're just trying to come up with any new information or leads that they possibly could. And so far, we just haven't been able to come up with anything.
As 2 years pass with no new information publicly released, Don says the emotional toll is weighing on the family, especially Candus.
So many people, they want to, you know, supposedly, you know, interview her or help and stuff, and then basically turn on her in every imaginable way. You know, she's been hurt deeply by these kind of things, you know.
Let me add on to that nobody on any social media platform should interview anybody that was with Summer on her last known day that she was alive. And that would be the day she was reported, June 15th, 2021. Whoever was with her that day, the only people that should have ever interviewed them, and unfortunately this is too late now, but I'm saying it because I'm sorry, I just have to say it. The only people that should have interviewed anyone that was around Summer Wells the day that she was reported missing was police. That's it. So anybody else, whether you're a private investigator or retired police or whatever, shame on you if you interviewed that Hunter kid, the the grandmother, Candus, Don, and anybody for that matter that was in contact with Summer Wells that day, if you interviewed them, shame on you. Disgusting, despicable, because you don't have the best interest of justice at the forefront. You have your own best interest of, look at me. I got this interview with Don and Candus and Hunter. That's the most thing that anybody could ever do. Despicable. But again, this is already water on the bridge and done. So shame on all of those people. Right up the whole daisy chain.
Plus the thought of, we lost our daughter, and, our boys are in custody also with the CPS.
He says they haven't been able to talk to their sons.
Everybody that knows me knows that, and Ed and all of us former law enforcement, we don't like to give out any extra information. You cannot tip your hand, obviously. But what I'm talking about is, if you don't have a lot to go on, we lean on the public to help us. They're not even making attempts to even talk about Summer Wells, period. It is crickets. Radio silence is never good. We sometimes say in investigations, when you're getting close, it gets quieter. But this silence from TBI and Hawkins County, it's almost like Summer Wells has been forgotten about. And they're not even doing any kind of updates. There's no press release. There's no conversations. There's no articles. I searched all the local articles of all the news outlets and so forth in Hawkins County and in the surrounding counties, Sullivan County. I looked all around for a blurb or piece on Summer Wells. It's like she doesn't exist anymore. And that's the vibe I get. I don't know. Let me know in the comments today. Is this a cold case? Is this a case that's still being investigated by authorities? I hope and pray that it is still being investigated, but it damn sure seems like a cold case to me.